at one of the biggest urban experiments in history. China's economy is on a tear. Breakneck growth and urbanization on a size and scale never before seen. And no city better illustrates that than a city you've never heard of. It's the megacity of Chongqing, a powerhouse of 12 million in the interior of China. Its explosive growth is part of the Chinese government's plan to bring the country's progress to China's poor interior. The idea, build it and they will come. And they are. Some 200,000 people move to Chongqing every year, from entrepreneurs looking to cash in on the latest boomtown to peasants looking for a better life. This is a look at one of the biggest urban experiments in history. The first thing I noticed was the Bangbang men. Chongqing sits on the hilly upper reaches of the Yangtze River. Bangbang are hired to transport goods on their backs, kind of like human trucks. Mr. Ron has been a Bangbang man for 10 years.
这里一般是这些搬这个东西啊，就说从这个船上担到这上面来吧。如果说是在农村的话哈，就是这个经济上没有这个到城市里面打工啊，就是这个经济活动。这个刚来的时候做零工，就是这里也做不好，那里也做不好，好，最后在这里这个地方，人混熟了，人会熟了，慢慢的就接触那些老板。
What was so striking about Mr. Ron and the many tens of thousands of Bangbang men in Chongqing was they seemed a bit out of place, from another time, in this rapidly modernizing city. Because everywhere you look in Chongqing, high-rises are sprouting up.
这就是整个鲁能开发的这个，在重庆第一个楼盘，很大的。
How many homes are going to be built?
42000户左右。
42000,
42,000. Oh my God.
Every day, builders in Chongqing lay down flooring equivalent to the size of 23 football fields.
I'm running out of words to describe this. I've said unbelievable and incredible about 1 million times since we got here, but I don't know how else to describe it. And see, there's like an army of construction workers at each location who work 8, 9, 10, 11 hours each day.
Hungry for work, migrant workers are sometimes willing to work long hours under hazardous conditions.
So are a lot of people coming from far away to look for construction work? Where do you live now?
It used to be that people left Chongqing for big eastern cities like Guangzhou and Shanghai, but now the reverse is true. Some of these men traveled 2,000 miles from the east coast of China to work here, and they plan on sticking around as long as the construction boom continues. And while Chongqing's economy is growing by leaps and bounds, unemployment is still a problem. Locals complain there isn't enough room at the table for them.
The government has made Chongqing's development one of the cornerstones of its economic and developmental policies. They've largely been successful, but even at construction sites like this, there's still a lot of people who are looking for work and growing impatient that they haven't been able to find them so far. Can we play 4 people?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so what do I do? So should I pair? Should I get pairs? Am I doing well?
数字的话，不了钱了呀。
I have no idea what happened to pay up now.
4元。
So I just lost 3 yuan, which is about 45 cents, in a game of fighting against the landowner, and I believe I was the landowner and I was beat.
After decades of being assigned housing by their employers, Chinese are rushing into homeownership with enthusiasm. Home prices in Chongqing have risen over 45% in the last 4 years.
So we're in the elevator of the new high-rise residential complex, and what I'm seeing is Chinese capitalism at its finest on these boards in marker and spray paint. If you look around these walls, they are just covered with phone numbers. Window?
Yeah. And the bed.
Bed?
No, clean.
So it's like Craigslist.
Are you sure it's not like for a good time, call so-and-so?
I'm sure there's 1 or 2 of these in here. Like massage services for a hard day's moving.
Like Americans, young Chinese are eagerly becoming first-time homeowners. The Lees gave me a tour of their apartment, which they just moved into 7 days ago.
You have good taste. I like your decorating. They say yellow is for crazy. As China grows and gets richer, is the idea of owning your own home, is that changing? Do more and more people feel that it's within reach?
你知道中国很多人想自己有一套房子是很难的事儿，单位上能分到你的头上的房子，他也得从上往下排，才排得到你。到你的时候分了一套房子，可能并不大，可能还没有我们这个大，就是我们打算一家人，很多人5、6口人就挤在这个房间里边。慢慢社会变了以后，大家手里边有钱了以后，到了现在，会积蓄了一点钱，就买了一套大的房子。所以他们对我们的父辈来说的话，他们特别看重这个东西。所以只要自己有了一套房子，感觉就自己真正有了一个家。
They told me that their parents had given them the money for the down payment.
因为现在在重庆这个地方吧，买房子对于年轻来说，可能这个房子比较小哈，然后可能只是一个过渡时期吧。然后这个房子就，即使以后我们有钱了不住了，然后这个房子是我们2个共同的所有权，我们可以把它租出去，或者是卖出去，这个也是一个投资吧，你可以升值的。
Well, that was one look at the new Chinese young urban professional couple.
But not everyone is a winner in the real estate game. As the city expands outwards, peasants are feeling squeezed out by all the urban development. This elderly woman considers herself lucky because some of her fields have been spared from development. Like most old people in rural China, she makes ends meet by continuing to work the land. The government gives her a welfare allowance of $25 a month, but it's not enough.
你看我们些老倌儿去打工度是叫他不要，哪里都要嘛。你原来说起我们说做清洁工，现在做清洁工都不得要那些岁数大的，你看60、70岁的，像我们老子那些都是要满70了。
Do you know what this might be down here?
Tea house.
Tea house. Does that say tea? Tea house? So many newcomers to the city, it seems like every available inch of space is being used. Right underneath the highway here is a tea house. Can you look at this and eat it?
这个味道非常好啊。
It feels like my own ear. I don't think I could eat that.
Like in any dynamic city, the day begins well before the sun rises, and as much of the city still sleeps, Chongqing's army of bang men are already stirring. I got up super early to follow Mr. Ron to work. He's found a regular gig at a department store.
First stop in the morning is this market area where they have breakfast every morning, so we're going to join them. Oh my god. And it's hot. Spicy. Look at them, completely unfazed. I'm usually the first one done with any meal. I usually inhale my food, but I will happily concede this loss. It is barely 6:30 on a Sunday morning, and you can, I mean, look at the traffic. There are like a stream of people, not even a stream, like a torrent of people going to work. This is what China's economy looks like today.
这个就是服装的，做服装的。这个车子拉到这里来，我们再搬到上面去。啊，我找到了，很喜欢。这边的，还有。
Mr. Ren just told us that the porters are not allowed to take the escalators. That's only for the customers. They have to go through these stairwells kind of hidden in the back of the building. Yeah. I asked them for a light bag and they're giving me a hard time. They're saying that I should not have a problem carrying this stuff. Okay, is it my turn? How do I? Oh my god. I'm having trouble balancing this. Is it okay? Oh, sorry. This is a good workout. I've been shamed.
Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I should turn in my fancy gym pass and, you know, do some real work.
6个小时。
I'm winded after what? 2 minutes? What is the heaviest bag you've ever lifted?
200多斤，200多斤。
That bag that I was carrying, how heavy would you say that was?
大概有50-60斤吧。
Stand next to him and compare our sizes.
Show muscle.
people leave the country and come to the city, they often find that they don't really have access to many government services such as healthcare, and so as a way of sort of paying them back, set up a number of booths and whatnot, and the people here are getting free health consultations. Where do you work? What do you do?
我们在国香，要不要去观察一下？哎，对，国香 restaurant， 我们可以邀请你去国香观察一下。
Is it Sichuan cooking? Because I can't deal with spicy food.
有清淡的，有清淡的。
Maybe we'll come by for lunch. Well, tell me about Migrants Appreciation Day. What is it?
它是代表我们一些民工团，然后来检查身体。
谢谢。
Thank you。再见啊，待会儿再见啊，拜拜。
So this is what a typical market looks like here in China, and this is the meat section. And any direction you look, you're going to see pork. The Chinese character for house is actually a roof with a pig underneath it, and that kind of helps to illustrate the importance of pork in the diet here. Every part of the pig here is edible. Nothing is put to waste. You like it?
这个味道非常好啊。
Is it like chewy, rubbery?
Crispy.
Crispy?
Yeah, crispy.
Really? Can you look at this and eat it?
I don't like this. This is crisp. This is
The ear.
Yeah, ear.
It feels like my own ear. I don't think I could eat that. Why is the price of pork increasing?
那个是由于全部农村的人都进入了城市，农村的人都他的人少了过后，他养猪的人都少了，他自然都提高了价钱。
How much have prices increased?
比起去年来涨了一半，涨了可能是去年的2倍。
While simplistic, this butcher's explanation has a ring of truth. As people move to the city and income levels rise, so has the appetite for meat. Productivity is down, demand is up. But food prices have now risen so sharply that the government is desperately trying to curb inflation, fearing that it could lead to civil unrest.
This is his room. If I were to lay down, my head and my toes would probably hit either side.
The income gap between China's haves and have-nots is only becoming more apparent. China's middle class is growing, and they have more disposable income than previous generations to spend on everything from fashion to cars. Chongqing hopes to become the manufacturing hub of China to meet the demand. First here in China, and then beyond. Lifan is one of those companies.
So we're right outside the headquarters here at Lifan, and there are a number of slogans on the building walls, and there's one that I think is pretty interesting. It says, "One who earns money in China is a winner. One who earns money overseas is a hero." And I think that speaks to the level of ambition here in China and with Chinese companies. Chinese companies and Chinese brands are ready to take the world stage. Where country do most of the exports go to?
目前最大国是俄罗斯，俄罗斯以及伊朗、埃及。
So this is the top of the line Lifan car. It is the Lifan 520. 520, when you pronounce it in Mandarin, is U'erling, which they say sounds like I love you or Wa ai ni. And so it's kind of taken on a life of its own. So this is if this car ever makes it to the US, it might be known as the Lifan I love you.
All these cars need places to go. Chongqing has constructed 8 bridges and 8 highways in the last 5 years. But this new car culture also has a price.
This is downtown. This is the main commercial district of Chongqing. And when you look at it from here, you see a lot of skyscrapers. It's very densely packed together. It could almost double as the skyline of New York City. In fact, they've got their own Chrysler building right over there. The irony here is that the development of Chongqing is sort of engineered to bring people out of the countryside into the cities and help urbanize them and help raise them out of poverty, but bring them to a place like this. Can't imagine having to live in these conditions and to breathe this air every single day. I don't know if that's progress.
Ultimately, progress may lie in the hands of young Chinese, who reflect China's ambitions as an international power. Today, there are up to 300 million Chinese people studying English, almost the size of the entire US population.
Oh, this is my desk, okay? And the most favorite thing is my computer. Yes, recently I am watching Desperate Housewives. At one hand, I like to listen to the language. I think the language is very beautiful. And the second one is, I think they shows, in some degree, they show some real life in America. So through that, I can know some culture about America.
I don't know if Desperate Housewives is the best representation of American life.
Which one you think is the best representation?
Yes.
Friends?
I would say Married with Children, actually. What do you think some of the problems might be with all of this growth?
I think everything has two sides. When the science and technology developed so quickly, there are so many byproducts. We are challenged by the environmental waste and pollution, and maybe the growth of population.
Do young people talk much about the growing disparity or the growing gap between the very, very rich and the poor?
Yes, I think it appears that the gap became more and more, and our country is taking some measures to countermeasure this kind of situation. Maybe the society will give us a very good environment, but we must take efforts to change our own life by ourselves.
Change is the constant here, so it's refreshing to find glimpses of the old Chongqing.
That we chose this specific tea house is that we'd heard that this is one of the few places where they still practice some of the old traditional ways of refilling your tea. Legend has it that one of the reasons that the tea spout is so long is that way back in the day, servants couldn't get too close to the emperor's cup.
These days, young people are more likely to be in a trendy coffee shop than at an old tea house. I met a group of young artists. One of them invited me to check out her work.
So is your gallery around here?
Art and self-expression, long discouraged by post-World War II's communist regime, is resurfacing and creating a new class of artists.
So the silver is urbanization, development?
Industry.
What is this big silver thing? Is it any special?
我觉得它像太阳，发出光芒，一些印象在里面。我出生在这个地方，就是我感受到它每天的那个高速的发展。所以说，这个城市给我的更多感觉就是霓虹灯快速的旋转，然后那个就是山城嘛。 它的东西景色就是那种蜿蜒崎岖的感受，我想表现的就是一种瞬间的色彩，晚上，重庆的晚上，瞬间的色彩。
Chongqing is a city that can't easily be described. It's changing so fast. Will China's enormous urbanization experiment succeed, or is it the wrong way forward? I thought of all the people that I'd met over the last couple days and where they were all headed. I decided to pay a last visit to Mr. Ron.
This is his room. We want to give you a sense of how small and how cramped these quarters are. I'm sitting on the bed and I can't even sit up straight. You can see my arm span. I mean, it almost touches that wall. It's probably about, what, a foot away from that side. If I were to lay down, my head and my toes would probably hit either side. When did you put up these Christmas lights? They're very nice.
当然是圣诞节的，去年圣诞的。
And then you have I see over here you have a television and a DVD player. What do you like to watch on DVDs?
我喜欢看这些枪战片呐，武打片呐。
And who are these?
这个是我的小儿子。
This is my little son.
这个是我小儿子。
My younger son.
You must miss him.
当然。
Of course.
Do you get to see him very often?
你经常去看他吗？
我1年回去一次。
What is this? Why do you have this eye chart here?
这是我孩子来的时候，这个就是这个孩子来的时候，我有事没事的时候我就考他一下。
How far are you supposed to be? Because I think I may need new contact lenses because I can't read that.
对。
Mr. Ron only pays about $20 a month to live here, under the bridge. He sends money back to his family in the country. He says he wants to start his own business in a few years. He's just one face among the legion of people flooding this megacity, all of whom are helping transform China.
按现在看这个状况的话，只是在一个起升的阶段，可能还有一个很大的空间。
不做农的、不耕地的农民，他就到城里边来，城里边来做，比如说做棒棒啊、建筑工人啊，他们的素质本身不高，对城市的环境也会造成一些比如说污染的地方、也不好的地方。
机会对我们来说没得原则，
没机会对我们。
In the next 10 years, Chongqing wants to add another 4 million people to its city limits. And by 2010, 50% of China's population is projected to live in cities. This is a demographic shift that isn't just happening in China, it's being felt around the world. Megacities are a wave of the future, and a future where more Chongqings will rise.
See more Vanguard Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on Current or online at current.com/Vanguard.